Welcome to Joy News Prime. Coming up, and there's explosive recordings allegedly showing Attorney General Ofori-Atta pressing on an accused person to incriminate the minority leader, published by the NDC. Tonight, we have details plus demands of the NDC for the Attorney General to resign or be sacked and then prosecuted. Also, the judge presiding over the trial of minority leader warns of significant consequences for any person who scandalizes a court as public commentary on the case intensifies. We have details from court where there has been heated exchanges between the presiding judge and the NDC, Sami Jemfi, over some out-of-court statements. Also, Private Health Facilities Association of Ghana accuses government of feeble commitment towards the National Health Insurance Scheme, which they say is leading to its collapse, more as it gives the NHIA a 9-day ultimatum to pay all service providers or they return to cash and carry. We'll tell you how they say they are suffocating under a 6-month arrears owed to them. Now, the presiding judge in the forcing trial has warned all the parties in the case to tone down public commentary on the case or face significant consequences. Now, public commentary on the case have gone up significantly after the third accused person alleged in open court that the Attorney General has been making advances towards him to incriminate the minority leader. Justice Efiasewa Asare-Botwe also had an intense confrontation with the NDC's National Communications Officer in court over some comments alleged to have been made by the politician out of court. Member of our Legal Affairs desk, Kwekwa Sante, has a wrap of what happened in court.
Day of blistering and heated exchanges in court, particularly between presiding judge Justice Efiasewa Asare-Botwe and the National Communication Officer of the National Democratic Congress, Sami Jemfi, over some comments the National Communication Officer is said to have made outside of court. The court took particular exception to that, warning Sami Jemfi to be responsible in his commentary outside of court. Today, the court did not go into the substantive case. The cross-examination of Richard Jakpa did not continue because of certain interlocutory matters that are currently before the court. But the judge, Justice Efiasewa Asare-Botwe, had a warning to all the parties to tone down on the commentary that have gone on so far around the case, particularly since that bombshell of an allegation was made in open court by Richard Jakpa that the Attorney General had made certain attempts at getting him to incriminate the minority leader. The judge had a warning that they should not get themselves involved in commentary that can actually scandalize the court and poison their minds about the particular hearings so far. Sami Jemfi, speaking to journalists afterwards, says he does not believe he made any wrong comments. He believes and agrees with the judge in principle that the commentary must go down, but they will continue to make forceful points about what they think is right.
In principle, the caution of the court was in order, and it is something that we in the NDC agree with, and that is why right from the outset, we have been very circumspect in whatever we say on this case and have assured that the court is not in any way or form scandalized. I think the particular reference to me was something that, in my humble opinion, the courts, got wrong. And I took the opportunity to draw the court's attention to the fact that the said comment was not about this court or the presiding judge in this trial. I think that you are aware that we have a press conference at 2 p.m. to address the unprofessional and criminal conduct of the Attorney General in this matter.
The Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Tuah-Yeboah, says the Attorney General himself is currently outside the country, has not made any decision as to whether or not he will recuse himself from this case. He is currently on official duties outside the country, and when he returns, will continue in the assignments he is currently undertaking. The Attorney General has come under fire. There are calls for his resignation or for President Akufo-Addo to fire him for that allegation that have been made against him. The Deputy Attorney General has also been giving certain indication as to what they make of all the public commentary that have been going on so far. Is AG around? Is AG intending to take any further steps about the allegations made against him in open court last week?
AG is on an official assignment and he'll be back very soon.
There are many calls that, looking at what is happening, the AG should step down.
That's the decision of the AG to make, but I don't see it that way. I do not see any tension We are prosecuting our case. They are defending their clients, and that's how the legal system works. So far as we are doing our work in court, we continue to do it and nothing else. So there's no tension. I don't know the controversy you are talking about. A mere allegation has been made. And so if anybody thinks that he may want a committee to be set up, I disagree with such a person. And I don't see anyone who may want to even think that it's a matter that borders on the integrity of the Attorney General or any other thing. He's very resolute. He's well composed. He's out of jurisdiction. He'll be back to continue his work as an Attorney General.
The court is expected to return next week, Tuesday. Certain applications are currently before the court. The court will then hear those applications. The judge says she needs to make a reasoned ruling on that, and then the case will proceed. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, High Court Complex, Accra.
Now, explosive audio recordings allegedly showing Attorney General Godfred Yeboah Dame, in a conversation with the third accused in the Akufo-Addo trial, Richard Jagba, an accused person, to incriminate the minority leader, has been published. In that tape, one will hear allegedly the AG having an interaction with the businessman, Richard Jagba. My colleague, Kweku Asante, who was there at this news conference, joins me in studio with some details. Kweku, tell us about which part of this tape where the Attorney General is asking the businessman to offer, an incriminating evidence against Akufo-Addo.
Well, so this has been coming, and it's a 16-minute audio that the NDC claim has the voice of the Attorney General as well as businessman Richard Jagba discussing the case that is currently under trial. First off, you hear the Attorney General and Richard Jagba battling out as to how the LCs works, back and forth. Richard Jagba educates a little bit the AG, how all those things work. And then they get to the point where the Attorney General says that Richard Jagba should allegedly adopt his position. It will not come at any detriment to him. It will actually make his life easier. Richard Jagba then goes on to say that if I do that, I will be knowingly handing over persons I know are innocent to you to jail them. And because of that, I'm unable to do that. And so that is what you will hear on this tape that the NDC have put out, allegedly showing the Attorney General offering a certain deal of a sort to Richard Jagba to incriminate the minority leader. Listen.
You are not privy to this one, I'm telling you.
In my view, if we agree to this theory, it's so simple, the theory of the case.
Not agree to the way you want to go, the way you want to go about it.
So let's agree. Let's describe it that way. Let's describe it that way. Do you want to go about it?
Okay,
if
fine.
Agree this way, for me, it makes it simple.
Yes, it will make
it doesn't also involve. It doesn't involve any difficulty for you.
Yes, I agree. I understand your point. That it doesn't.
When you say there's no advancement, yes. When you say there's no advancement, ordinarily meaning in Ghana that you don't pay until you get your goods. Now the contract here, even the clear terms, unless maybe you guys did not draft the contract, it says everything on site of goods shall be established upon the signing of the contract for every future.
No, the contract was drafted by government. It was done by government.
Oh, yes.
And it was an LG department perused the contract and approved the contract for government.
It is not a problem where they approve it. Every contract is actually approved before later when they are implementing it, then problems.
You see, what the difficulty I have with your position is that, you see, frankly speaking, fine, as you are saying, if I agree to your position, how you want to go about it and how you want me to go about my answering questions and things, if I go by that way, frankly speaking, I'll be dishonest because I know that is not how it's supposed to be.
But you want me to go about it your way. And I feel that if I go about it your way, I'll be dishonest. Continue.
Question sentence. If I go by that way, frankly speaking, I'll be dishonest because I know that is not how it's supposed to be. And I'll be dishonest, in such a way that I'll be assisting for someone I know is completely innocent about this. For example, Akufo-Addo, to be jailed because I knew something was wrong, was not the way, and I decided to keep quiet and to answer the question in a way that will make your case better for you to jail him. I'll be battling with my conscience. That is the problem I'm having. Anytime you bring up this issue with Yoni Kulende, when I went to Yoni Kulende's place, anytime you bring this issue, that is my problem I'm having. Because me, for example, I am in this case because I'm innocent and I'm going through ordeal. So I'm looking at another person also going to go through ordeal and through me because I know the truth and I decide not to say it because I want to help the AG make his case. And I ask myself, what is my interest in it?
I'm not asking you to really help me. I'm just going by the top. Anyway, so that's fine. So this one was even just by the way.
I hope you get my difficulty.
It's on the phone.
Oh no, don't worry about that one. My issue I'm just oh no, you and I will be meeting.
Well, Kuku, there is also the issue about falsifying a medical report.
Yes, in fact, Richard Jakpa started his examination in chief very few months back, right? And the Attorney General said he was about to travel. He wanted that particular phase of the trial to prolong for some time until he returns. Okay, so Jakpa says, well, I'll do my best and try and see if he can prolong stuff. But ultimately, it will depend on the judge because you know how the judge behaves and all that. That is the words of Richard Jakpa on this alleged, recording that have been put out in the public. Then Attorney General comes in and says, oh, you can probably get some medical excuse and say that you're not well, get a doctor to give you an excuse form, you can bring it to court. Jakpa says, okay, then you can bring it. Then Attorney General says, no, I'm not bringing it. I'm asking you to go and get something like that. Listen.
Well, that's my timetable for the rest of the...
that means that you are not going to be around.
So, yeah. And then even next week, the whole of next week, I'll not be around. If there's a way of... if you will not even finish next week, I would appreciate it.
Oh, no, okay, no, I'll not finish next week. I don't think I'll be able to finish because the documents are many. So you will surely go and come and meet me.
Oh, no,
but that will also depend upon the judge's behavior.
You can bring one medical excuse next week.
Okay. Okay, fine. If you bring a medical excuse next week.
I think you. How can I bring a medical excuse?
No, you are saying that I should bring a medical excuse next week.
You can if you want.
But brother, you want this one to issue bench warrant for me again?
Anyway.
Now, let's come to the laws the NDC is accusing the AG of breaching.
They said a number of professional etiquettes that they believe the Attorney General ought to have followed, for which reason they say the Attorney General has breached all of this, including the very cardinal ones about his professional regulations. The national chairman of the NDC, Johnson Esedin-Ketia, says all these rules have been breached by Ofori-Atta.
It is clear from the tape recording that Ofori-Atta was communicating with the third accused, Richard Jakpa, on the blind side of his lawyer as well as the court. And he was attempting to compromise Jakpa in order to wrongfully convict Dr. Atto-Forson. This is a cardinal sin against the legal profession. Quote, professional conduct and etiquette rules. That is contained in LI 2324. Again, Rule 41 of LI, the same LI 2324, which highlights special responsibilities of a prosecutor states. Quote, where a lawyer acts as a prosecutor, in this case, where Ofori-Atta acts as a prosecutor, the lawyer shall act resolutely and honorably within the limits of the law and shall treat the court or tribunal with candor, fairness, courtesy, and respect. Unquote. It is clear from this tape that Ofori-Atta's conduct violates Rule 41 of LI 2023. He consciously, deliberately, and knowingly did not act resolutely nor honorably. Neither did Dami treat the court with candor, fairness, and respect that all lawyers, and in this particular case, prosecutors, are required by law to do.
So that is the chairman of the NDC there. After they built that background, of course, there might be some demands. Yeah. What are they asking for?
4 demands. Principally, they want the Attorney General to, quote, honorably resign or be fired by the president. Okay. They also want him to be prosecuted for witness tampering and breaching certain aspects of the Criminal Code of the Republic. They say the president does not sack him and get him prosecuted within the lifetime of this government. A future NDC government will come after him. Listen to the national chairman of the NDC, Johnson Esidingeti again.
Ladies and gentlemen, considering the scandalous nature of this recording and other forms of evidence we have shown you, we wish to make the following pressing demands as part of efforts to restore credibility to the Attorney General's office and Ghana's judicial system as a whole. 1, the immediate and unconditional resignation or dismissal of Godfrey Dame for bringing the high office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice into disrepute and public opprobrium. Clearly, Mr. Dame is not fit to hold himself out as Attorney General and Minister of Justice. He is unfit to be the leader of the Ghana Bar. 2, the immediate prosecution of Godfrey Dame for multiple violations of the laws of Ghana. We wish to make it clear that should President Akufo-Addo refuse or fail to prosecute him, a future NDC government will prosecute Godfrey Dame for this heinous crime of fabrication of evidence. 3, commencement of disciplinary proceedings by the General Legal Counsel against Godfrey Dame and his disbarment for conduct unbecoming of a lawyer, and more importantly, the leader of the Ghana Bar. 4, a publicly televised parliamentary inquiry into this and other reports of judicial manipulations by Godfrey Dame with a view to censor Godfrey Dame to prevent the recurrence of such judicial manipulations.
Well, the MPP has been reacting to this news conference, and they say the credibility of the Attorney General, Godfrey Addo, remains unblemished. According to them, NDC wants to shield Dr. Atto-Forson from accountability, hence their decision to run to the media with a tape they described as doctored. Frank Davis is chair for the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee of the MPP.
If it is the firm belief of the NDC and Atto-Forson that no laws had occasioned the state from its conduct, then they should just remain faithful to our judicial system and seize these malicious orchestrations targeted at bastardizing our judicial system and to prevent him from standing trial to its final conclusion. They should just keep quiet and let the proceedings in court continue.
Well, let's dwell a bit more on this particular story and bringing lawyer Martin Pebu, who has also been speaking on this matter since it broke. Lawyer, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. First off, you've listened to this tape by the NDC. What must happen on the back of this particular evidence or this tape that we've listened?
The accused persons have to be applying for stay of proceedings of the matter. That is to say, the criminal trial has to come to a halt. This recording is a blockbuster. It destroys the whole case. It brings the whole criminal justice system into disrepute. So we have to end it quickly. So that's what they have to do. So that's for the courtroom and stopping the whole criminal trial. Secondly, since it's turned out that it wasn't just one encounter, you hear Jakwa say in the tape that they had met a number of times. I support the second phase of accountability, which should be a public inquiry into the activities of Godfrey Dame, you hear informally many lawyers complain about one thing or another concerning his practice about these kind of things. So there should be a public inquiry so that people will be given an opportunity to come and testify what they've also suffered at his hands and all that. Let's go in, because apparently this is a tip of the iceberg. So let's go for the rest of the 9/10 of the iceberg.
Well, the NDC is calling for the disbarment of Godfrey Dame from the bar. Is this enough to warrant his removal and, I mean, his suspension from the practice of law in Ghana?
That one, in terms of punishment, it's the General Legal Council that will decide. So for that one, it's early days yet. I want to go with one step at a time. You see, right now, the NDC is saying that there are more tapes. So because I haven't heard the rest of the tapes, I cannot make a judgment about sanctions yet. Okay. That's why I said, apart from stopping the criminal trial, I support Dr. Justice Remsai, Samson Ladi and the rest who are calling for a full public inquiry under Article 278. I know we may not get it, but let's continue the advocacy, because even doing the advocacy itself is a way of holding Godfrey Dame accountable, because I'm sure by now he'll be feeling very terrible that these things he's been doing today, they've caught up with him. And then it will also be a warning to the rest of us at the bar to be exceedingly careful. So let's continue the advocacy. The fact that we may not succeed in getting the public inquiry done doesn't mean that we shouldn't advocate, because the more we advocate, we are preaching. It's like the way some people go to church every day of the week to listen to pastors preach. This program we are holding is also preaching, reminding all of us about the ethics. So I support it that we should have a public inquiry. If we will not get that one, then let's go for the parliamentary inquiry. I heard Professor Apieje Echia ask for a parliamentary inquiry. Yes, I'll support that. But bottom line is that we cannot just stop at the cancellation of the criminal trial. That will not be sufficient. Let's continue the conversation so that the more we do it, then the more it will warn all of us. What I'm envisaging is that the impact of this tape should be like the Anas expose in 2012. You see, the one that led to the dismissal of judges, etc. The impact it brought. Because from time to time, we need to remind ourselves of such rules and how to conduct ourselves. Otherwise, the standards fall.
Okay. Lawyer, I'm grateful to you for joining us. Lawyer Martin Pebu is a private legal practitioner speaking to us there. Now, moving on to other stories. You may not be able to use your national health insurance card to access health care in a private health facility after the 7th of June this year. That is because the Private Health Facilities Association say they will be forced to return to cash and carry because of 6 months arrears owed them by the National Health Insurance Authority. They are accusing the government of feeble commitment towards the NHIS, which they say is leading to the collapse of the scheme. The minority on the Health Committee in Parliament on Monday raised concerns about the financial state of the National Health Insurance Scheme, claiming it is gradually and currently bankrupt. They say checks with the Bank of Ghana reveal that the National Health Insurance Fund holds less than 1 million cedis. Vice President of the Private Health Facilities Association of Ghana, Samuel Boache Donko, says from the 7th of June, if they are not paid, they cannot provide service to the NHIS card holders.
In fact, we are really struggling to survive. We don't have money to buy drugs, to pay salaries, to buy lights, and to do any other thing at the facility. We are struggling. We are pleading with the government. They paid us up to November, October last year. We plead with the government that the government should release money to NHI for them to pay us. As from 7th of June, we cannot work with NHI card bearers anymore. This is a serious matter and it's getting out of hands. The healthcare is really collapsing under NHI and we can't afford to let it collapse. We have to survive it. Therefore, government to release money for us so that we can bounce back and work to take care of Ghanaians.
Well, thankfully, the Vice President of the Private Health Facilities Association of Ghana, Samuel Boache Donko himself, is joining us now via phone now. I'm grateful to you, sir. Now, can you tell us exactly what the situation is with private health facilities. How bad is your situation?
Thank you very much, my brother. Our situation is very, very, very bad. Now we can see the cost of drugs and non-drugs just escalating, going up, and NHI is still having, not reviewing their tariff, giving us a realistic price and tariff to work with. Now, for about 6 months now, we have not been paid. The whole of 2024, we are entering into the half of the year. No money has been paid to us. Last year, they owed some of us 2 months, a month. Last year, up to date, no money to even buy light, to work at the facilities, to buy drugs, pay salaries, taxes, Senate, GRA, and co. We are really, really struggling to survive as a healthcare facility.
Okay.
So we plead with the government. The situation is not good at all.
Okay.
Very, very bad.
Now, you say you have had cause to complain to the NHI and government about the growing cost of pharmaceutical products and other medical consumables. Tell us more about that. What sort of response do you get?
See, they are aware of it. And one thing that we don't even understand is that they are aware. Dr. Bonita Costa is aware of that. But he keeps going about telling people that we are doing co-payments, we are charging top-ups and go. But look at the price of even just cotton and gloves. Drugs, you cannot imagine, just going up every day. They are aware. Government is aware because of the dollar to the cedi depreciation. So these pharmaceutical companies always tell us that they import some of the drugs, they import the raw materials, cost of production has just gone up. So they can also not compromise another NHI's price. So they have to give us an upward price. And we can't cope with the price of the NHI. Just too much for us to pay.
Okay.
We can't pay it.
Okay. I'm grateful to you for joining us here. But joining us also on this issue is the ranking member on the Health Committee of Parliament, Kwabena Minta-Akando. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining. The minority on the Health Committee say the NHIS fund is bankrupt and that your church revealed it holds less than 1 million cedis. Tell us more about that. That less than 1 million cedis, that's woefully inadequate.
It is bankruptcy. It's not woefully inadequate. It's bankruptcy. Let me take you a little bit down the lane. The National Health Insurance Authority, or the fund, is a special purpose vehicle that you and I pay national health insurance levies. And the law, the National Health Insurance law, says that in Section 52(1) says that the minister responsible for finance shall appoint an agent to collect the levies, and these levies will be lodged into the National Health Insurance Fund within 30 days. Okay. So these are monies that are paid for payment. They are most reliable. So the law says that once these monies are paid, it must go straight to the National Health Insurance Fund within 30 days. So there shouldn't be any point where we'll be owing more than 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, where we won't get money for the National Health Insurance Authority.
Now,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, but here is the case: when government collects these levies, then they use the money for something else. Quite apart from that, from 2018 till now, they have capped this money. And they brought a law, apart from the fact that the monies we are paying cannot even finance the National Health Insurance subscribers, the government brought a law to cap the National Health Insurance Fund, and from 2018 till now, they are taking more than 6 billion Ghana cedis for the National Health Insurance Fund. And the little that is left for them to pay into the fund too, they are not paying.
So what does your check tell you about where that 6 billion goes or has gone?
As for that 6 billion, the capping one, they decide to, these are the money they use in digging the most expensive holes in the world, the cathedral, and they use those monies on unnecessary things, leaving the healthcare of the people in the country.
Okay.
So
now your committee also has a responsibility to play here. So what do you intend to do to help salvage the situation? If the NHIA collapses, it affects all of us.
especially when I came out, nobody told me to expose, what I have done now. It's part of my responsibilities, and we did it. And we are inviting the finance minister, the health minister, the National Health Insurance Authority to appear, and then the controller to appear before the committee to come and explain why the scheme is bankrupt. Why are they not giving them the money? Because the people of this country have paid the money. It's not as if anybody is telling government to go and look for money for the scheme. It is the people's money. It is the scheme's money. And so they must pay. So that's what we are doing. We are putting pressure. We are bringing pressure to bear on government to make sure wherever that money is, government must pay the money into the fund.
Okay, all right. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining. Kwabena Mintakando is a ranking member on Parliament's Health Committee. This is still the Joe News Prime. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more. Please don't go away. Welcome back from the break. Now, the National Development Planning Commission has acknowledged its failure to get a successive government to implement previous development plans. The NDPC attributes this failure to the rigidity of these documents, making it difficult for governments to implement them. However, the commission says it has learnt from past mistakes and has made adjustments to address the issue. According to the Director General of the NDPC, Dr. Kojo Esiam-Mensah-Brampa, the rigid plans prescribing projects and actions will not survive under the current political dispensation. Therefore, the Commission has made the new plan more flexible going forward.
What the citizens and the National Development Planning Commission has done is that this is where we want to go. These are the milestones we want to attain. But the programs and the strategies, the programs and the projects are reserved for the government. What we do is to establish the vision. At the end of the day, we are going to mark you. It's like producing the syllabus and producing the marking scheme and giving it to a student. And I say at the end of the day, this is how I'm going to mark you whether you have failed or you have passed. But it's up to you to learn.
Who will do the marking here?
It's the people through National Development Planning Commission and the Parliament. We produce a report every year. But the report and the dissemination of some of these targets is what we have to push to the citizens, and for that matter, the Parliament, which represents the people, to be able to use it as a basis to guide us, whether we are on target or off target. Now, all these targets are there in the document, a 4-year period, and then we'll do the year-by-year publication for citizens to know.
Now, the other issue has to do with the CI. At the moment, there's no legally binding document to get these political parties, when they come into power, continue previous projects. That is one of your major concerns. Are you by this advocating that we should have that CI passed to get these political parties signed to it?
That is exactly what my chairman said, that this is a process we have initiated. There's a whole constitutional review process going on, and we have indicated the pertinence of looking at this CI and making it practical. If it says 35(7) of our constitution says, as far as possible, okay, political parties are to continue programs and projects initiated by the previous political party. What is as far as possible? And this is what you need a constitutional instrument to define.
Meanwhile, former Chief Justice Ofori-Atta is backing calls for the establishment of a legally binding document to ensure successive governments implement policies in line with the National Development Planning Framework.
Definitely. Well, whatever effective method will assure that there will not be every 4 years or 8 years hiccup. You move forward for a maximum of 8 years or an expected maximum of 4 years, and then there's a hiccup. How do you progress in that sort of way? After all, a development plan, a development program, who's the target? Ghana. So why should it depend on a political party? Do you see what I mean? Because at the end of the day, the objective and the goal is Ghana focused, ought to be Ghana focused? Who's benefiting? Ghana. And if Ghana is benefiting, does it matter who started it?
So will you join the cause for that CI to be established?
If I haven't seen the terms of it, but yes, because up to now I have been rather advocating for a constitutional amendment in the Constitution, making it compulsory for that to be done instead of shall endeavor. No, we've seen what endeavoring does, so it should be bound. You should be bound into it. You should be free to make adjustments, but you do not abandon. You don't abandon. Yes.
Now, recent power outages being experienced in some parts of the country are taking a toll on private mortuaries in the Ashanti region. Some private morgues in the region are struggling to preserve bodies with extended power cuts that often last more than 12 hours per day. The situation has left many grappling with unexpected fuel cost and hastily arranged burials. Nana Boachi Yadom has more.
The stadium. Okay, let's go.
Not just the living suffocates when the lights goes off and on. The dead also swelter. The current erratic power supply does not just affect our homes and businesses, but the home of the dead and the business of the mortuary man. In today's episode of Dumso Diaries, we tell you the crestfallen stories of morgues suffering from the intermittent power cuts. The recent electricity woes have taken on a new urgency, posing unprecedented challenges for private morgues. The relentless power cuts have triggered an alarming issue that goes beyond just inconvenience, but the rapid decomposition of corpses. The city morgue is among several morgues in Kumasi, bearing severe economic challenges as a result of the intermittent power cuts. Kwame Osueje is a mortician at the City Morgue Limited.
Do some here. Fuwe na company betono enye fuwe kitwa ti do something there ade a hardwe pa ema adwuma no edu ba bia mo amote adwuma kwa sika nyina akode police station for ni na se for to do something there hardwe to do something there say aban here
the company is left to spend so much on fuel. The situation is affecting our business. Something must be done for us to benefit. Families complain. We have to work extra mile to keep the bodies. Bodies are decomposing more rapidly than usual due to recent power disruptions. Kwame explains how frustrating it is to perform his duties.
Because in the body by say bibinti oni ahunbonti no kwese odi 2 years na do time na oba na bibia ye kama ti wan ma wo attendant na ma ho anye ha na say bibisia odi akodwo dia e bia bet me afeti no ma bebere all bodies ni ho
say light ni so bodies no etesen
oh say bodies hu ye fresh eti say wakoku store akotonam na ice na ye den afri hu.
We do suffer a lot as attendants. The outages keeps the body dry, which is not what we expect. It is like losing the eyes on meat bought from the cold store. The bodies are infected and they are not well preserved when the light goes off.
So my chemicals na yedi enwo adwuma no wo man available ekoni mu kama ba wat mi anye ankoni mu na se bia body no yidu ko to fridge mu fresh sa se bia meba beye na want mi anye sanoma na ma bed bed edum du so na body no benya de benya infected.
The situation presents grieving families with a difficult decision to hurriedly conduct funerals while adding additional stress, emotional torture, and significant monetary strains to their already challenging times. Akufo-Addo explains the challenge families go through. The plant sometimes refuses to function. The bodies are not well kept due to the outages. It's destroying our businesses. Families get frustrated anytime they get here to see their bodies dry. Moctician Kwame J is pleading with authorities to provide a load shedding timetable to help enhance his work. We plead with government to do something about the intermittent power cuts. We want something to be done as soon as possible, at least a timetable. For Joy News, Nana Boachidan Kwayadum, Kumasi.
Now, promoting Africa's transformation has been a long-held desire of many nations across the continent. However, the 59th annual meetings of the African Development Bank, which is underway in Nairobi, Kenya, is seeking to accelerate that agenda. This year's statutory meeting of the Development Bank will also seek to harness efforts of all international actors to push for a reform of the global financial architecture. Joy News' Foreign Affairs correspondent Blessed Soga report from Kenya.
Development Bank has been bringing together all regional and economic bodies, holding conversations. We started off today with a closed-door session with central banks and, of course, ministers of state representing various African countries. But the main deal will start in a few hours from now, where, of course, heads of states will be expected to touch down in Nairobi ahead of that high-level dialogue. The president of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akufo-Addo, has been addressing a news conference pointing out some of the key issues confronting Africa's development and the need to transform the economy using the vehicle of the African Development Bank.
Africa, it's not being well served by the global financial architecture, has to do with how debt resolution is done. You know, when it comes to issue of debt and debt resolution, don't forget that Africa in the 90s, when we had the multilateral debt relief initiative, and we also had the highly indebted debt, poor countries, we lost a decade because it took forever to negotiate anything. And so we are pleased that there's a G20 common framework, which I strongly support, which the African Development Bank strongly supports, the G20 common framework. It's helping to bring creditors that are the private creditors with the official creditors together to negotiate on comparability terms. What are the terms of the debt restructuring that's going to be done? Now, I understand it takes it's a very difficult process because you have Paris Club members, you have non-Paris Club members, and you have commercial debtors, and their needs are quite different from those of official creditors. But it's helped. It's helped with Chad, it's helped with Zambia, it's helped with Ghana, and it's working also on Ethiopia in putting together the various credit committees. That said, that process, everybody agrees, is too slow.
Climate is also on the agenda, very key for the African Development Bank because it says it sees a direct bearing of whatever happens to the climate to matters relating to agricultural output. In a nutshell, these are some of the issues happening here in Nairobi. We'll be providing updates and giving you all the varied details of conversations and discussions and dialogues happening here in Kenya, Nairobi, which is hosting the 59th annual meetings of the African Development Bank. The Sugan reporting for Joy News, Nairobi, Kenya.
Oh, this is the Joy News Prime. We'll take a break here. We'll bring you showbiz. Do stay. Well, let's do showbiz now, and Becky Bex is here with all the gist you need in the day. Hi, how are we doing?
I'm okay. How you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I love the hair.
Oh, thank you. Let's start with a very sad news. 3-year-old Nana Yao, who is alleged to have lost his life in a car crash involving Ghanaian actor Kojo Kansa, has been buried. The actor, also known as Lewin, is said to have been driving at a high speed and crashed into the vehicle that had the 3-year-old and his father, Jacob Kofi-Ampoma. There's more in the following report.
Actor Lewin reportedly veered off his lane, colliding head-on with a vehicle containing Emmanuel and his father. Emmanuel, a 3-year-old, died at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital on Saturday. His father, Jacob Kofi-Ampoma, has been left in crutches with a non-functioning right leg. Boache Da Costa, a relative of the 3-year-old boy, says the family is devastated. The mother fainted upon hearing the news and gained consciousness after a while. Now the father, Mr. Jacob, walks in crutches. It's been a hard moment. We just had to solace ourselves because the harm has already been done. Now all of us have gathered here at Casa to bury the child. Meanwhile, Victoria, the grandmother of the deceased, is enraged. The family says there are plans to decide on actions to take against the actor after the burial services.
I'm in a lot of pain, and I'm worried because 2 cars were involved in the accident, but all the discussions have been centered around just one person. Nothing has been mentioned about the person who lost his life. The elders are going to meet and will communicate our decision soon.
Senior brother of the deceased, Akufo-Addo, says the family is yet to make an official statement at the Zongo police station where the case is being investigated. The family is enraged over the indifferent approach from the actor, Lewin, and his management.
Police case in the leading case, police for no, never doesn't kind of now you could true statement, but now my brother so call assessment will Konfanochi and the inspector and
We are yet to write a statement on it. We are yet to write a police statement on it tomorrow. We haven't concluded on the criminalities of it. Meanwhile, Lewin and his management have shown utter indifference to us.
Sympathizing with the family. They come to annoy the family. There are certain formalities here. There was a no matter Usika said you war. If you be fear, a mamma Kwansuni, Boo Kwansu.
Reporting for Joy News, my name is Clinton Yabwa.
May his soul rest in perfect peace. Let's move away from that. Let's talk about Fuse ODG. He hasn't been in the news for a while. He said that he's coming up with something called Sona. It's actually a revolutionary new educational gaming platform which teaches African history and languages with in-game rewards. So I spoke to Fuse and he's been telling us all about this gaming app.
I've been working on something very revolutionary. So we're about to launch an educational app that teaches Black history called School of New Africa. It's called Sona, and it's launching next month. And the idea is that right now Africans love themselves. We're putting in work for Africans to now put the love for themselves. And now we need to, people want to know who they are. People want to learn their history. And this app is literally there for us to learn our history, to understand the powerful leaders of the past and how we can learn from them to better the future. So I'm very excited to launch that. So this year, I'm very focused on launching the app, my album, and the new artists that I've signed.
Wow. You have been an advocate for celebrating Africa and embracing Africanness. Do you think that we're doing well as a people when it comes to celebrating ourselves and putting ourselves first?
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like we're now at a stage where we love ourselves a lot more than before. You know, there's definitely progress. There's 1,000% progress, and I feel like we need to keep it moving. We need to keep moving, and for me, that's why I feel like we need to start with the next generation. So this app that we're about to launch is focused on the kids, because it's easier to build a child's mind than an adult's mind. But definitely there's progress, but we have to keep it moving.
If you saw DG there, we cannot wait for this particular game app to come out so that we can learn about our African history. We keep on, or we continue to learn about African history. Have you heard about Atlas?
Yeah.
So this particular movie is on Netflix, and for those of you who are interested, this is Prime Movie Box for you.
Okay.
Grace, you should watch it. We'll talk about it.
I will, because of what it has. It tells us about what the future of AI will be. I'll watch it. Well, thank you for that, and thanks to all of you for watching. But remember to brush your teeth before you go to bed this evening and tomorrow morning when you wake up from bed with either Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, Pepsodent Charcoal, Pepsodent Herbal, or Pepsodent Triple Protection, because with Pepsodent, every smile, as you know, matters a lot. Thank you for being a part of us. There's more news on myjoyonline.com.